In this video, we're going to continue looking at the notes for manipulating the mouse and determining where the mouse is located in a Monogame program. One of the things we might want to do, actually in the tic-tac-toe program we're going to write for an assignment, we need to figure out which square the mouse is over on the screen. Okay, and what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a 500 pixel wide and 400 pixel tall rectangle that has lines on it every 50 pixels. And we're going to read the mouse and determine which column it's in. So let's go back over to our Monogame program. And actually, let's do one other thing in our Monogame program before we start on the next part. Let's declare a color variable. And we will use the color variable. We'll set it equal to white here and initialize. So back color. Okay. And that'll be the normal background color or color of our box that we're drawing on the screen. And instead of printing out where the mouse is located, what we will do is if the mouse moves over the box, we will set the background color. So we'll change it to red. And if it's not over the box, we'll make it white. And then down here, instead of doing white every time, what we have to do is we just have to put the back color. Okay, so let's run this program now and let's see what happens. Okay, so normally it's white, and then when I move the mouse over it, it turns red. As long as the mouse tip stays inside, it will continue to be red as soon as I move out. So as soon as the mouse moves over this box, we're going to make it turn red. So that's just a little modification of the previous program. Okay, now what we need to add here is we need to add some content. And so let's go here and let's run the pipeline tool. Let's try that again. Oh, there we go. And we want to add an existing item, and I put mine on my desktop a minute ago, so there should be a file out here on the desktop. So we need some additional content. Let's go to our content pipeline tool here. And the file that I have is actually on my desktop, and it's called Columns for Testing Mouse. And we'll open that up, and we'll copy it to the directory, and we will rebuild our pipeline and close. We need to add that. It's an existing item. And it should be in the content folder, and it still remembers that we're doing all files. So columns for testing mouse, click on add. And let's take a look at what this looks like. And it's just white with some black stripes. Every 50th pixel, we've got a column of black. Okay. So let's close that. Now we know what it looks like. And what I want to do is I want to figure out, I want this to be 500 pixels wide and 400 pixels tall. And instead of loading the white rectangle, I'm trying to do this without introducing any new variables here. So I want columns for testing mouse. and I want to display that down here. Let's just run it real quickly and make sure that it really works. Okay, and it's still doing the changing the color, but we're over 100 pixels, down 100 pixels, and then 50, 100, 200, 300, 400, and 500. I didn't do horizontal lines, but this is 400 pixels tall. So actually, let me go back up here and let's go over, down rather, 75, so we can just see 5 pixels of the blue background at the bottom. Okay, so there's a little bit of down there. So going over 100, down 100, so our origin point is right here. I'm going to get rid of that business where we change the colors all the time because that's not really relevant now. So I'm going to comment this out. And we're going to flip back over to the notes. So what I want to do is I want to take an X and a Y and I want to convert it into a row and a column. Okay. So this one we said we're going to go over 100 and down 75. So we'll make these numbers agree with what we've got in our program. And so we've got these stripes every 50. Now on, let me flip back over here. Let's run the program again. I'm just going to figure out what row it's in, what column it's in. So I'm starting at 100 here, and everything 100 to 150 is going to be column 1, or column 0, I suppose. And then from 150 to 200 is going to be column 1, and column 2, and column 3. So I need to figure out, if I know what the x-coordinate is, if it's between 100 and 150, it's going to be column 0. If it's between 150 and 200, it's going to be column 1, and so on. So I need to convert that into a formula. And so I'm going to, let's flip back over to Word. So this is what I know. I know if I'm in the range from 0 to 149, that's column 0. 150 to 199 is column 1, 200, and so on. So every 50 pixels is going to be a new column. And what I need to do is I need to convert this X number into the number over here in the second column. Okay, so what do you have to do to this number? What's a formula every time that you do to this number that will give you this number over here? Well, the first thing I have to do is subtract 100 from every one of those because that's my offset from the left edge. So if I subtract 100 from every one, then I get the numbers from 0 to 49. I want to translate into a 0. From 50 to 99, I want to translate into a 1, and so on. And what you should easily be able to see here is that this number in second column here is basically the number in the first column divided by 50 and throwing away the remainder. So if I know my x and I subtract 100 and divide by 50, then it should tell me what my number is. So let's flip back over to our Visual Studio, and let's declare a variable up at the top because I want to use this in more than one function. So I'm declaring an int variable called column, and then down here, let's initialize that to 0 because then down at the bottom, what I want to do is column is going to be equal to, I got to subtract 50 from the mouse.x. I'm sorry, 100 because that's how far over I'm going before I start. And then I've got to take that number, I've got to divide it by 50. Okay. Every number here is an integer, so I'll get an integer for an answer, so I don't need to worry about having the fractional part here. And then what I want to do is let's just we'll comment this out. We're not really doing any drawing here, but what I want to do is we'll just use the output window to make it simple. That way we don't have to create a font or anything like that. So console.writeLine, and I want to write out the column number and see if this is working. So let's start it. And I do need to draw that. I was still thinking about the little box. Let's go ahead and uncomment that, and let's start it again. So if I'm over here, this is actually going to give me a -1 and a -2. Am I getting a -2? Okay, I am if I go far enough. So this should be column 0 for me, so I'm checking the numbers in my output. Let's make these just a little bit closer so it's easier to read. This should be column 1. This should be column 2. Now watch what happens when I cross the black line here. It should switch from a 2 to a 3. And that's column 3, column 4, column 5, column 6, column 7, column 8, column 9. And if I keep on going, it's actually going to give me a 10, even though I'm not on my image anymore. So you might want to put some if statements in there so that it doesn't compute if you're too far to the left or too far to the right. But that is all that it takes. It's one simple formula here. And you can probably figure out what it would be if we were going in the y direction. If I wanted to get a row number, it would be mouse.y minus whatever the top of that is. In this case, it happens to be 100 as well. And then I want to take that number and divide by how many pixels there are, how tall each row is. So if it was 50, we divide by 50. If it was something else, we divide by whatever that number happens to be. So this number here is the offset from the left edge where we want to start, and this is the width of each column. This is the offset from the top where we want to start, and this is the height of each row. So all you got to do is modify this number and this number and this number, whoops, and this number, and you can convert any mouse X and Y coordinate into a row and a column that makes sense for whatever it is that you're trying to do.